Hi, today I'm going to read to you Rainbow Factory, which is a My Little Pony fanfiction by Aurora. This fanfiction is quite gory actually. So if you get unsettled easily, I suggest you don't listen to this. It gave me the spooks when I heard it the first time. So here we go, Rainbow Factory by Aurora. There's long been rumors as to how exactly rainbows are made in Equestria. While a great amount of Pegasi ponies are employed in the rainbow department of the Weather Factory, almost all of them do the low-end work. What's known is the great streams of spectra, the individual colors of the rainbow, flow through large grates and into vast vats. From there, workers carefully and equally mix the spectra into the coagulated rainbow pools that dot and run through the factory and the surrounding city. Next, that mixture is pumped to the floor below, where other employees atomize it and store it until the active weather Pegasi deployed in field. However, no one knows how individual spectra is made. Supplies are never seen being brought in, leaving not even a clue to what goes into a rainbow. Tourists, when visiting the factory, are treated to an extremely foreboding and plain wall with massive doors barring entry to any pony at any time. While most of the facilities' various signs and architecture is bubbly and welcoming, the Rainbow Factory's upper floor was protected by a harsh imagery of potential hazards and death, and the cloud wall was made not out of the clean white of the rest of the city, but of black, quietly thundering fog. To become an employee of the Upper Rainbow Factory means sacrificing any life outside of those black walls. Workers are sworn to secrecy and forbidden from leaving and live inside the faculty itself. Those few who ever manage to make it out, not in a body bag, were twisted and disturbed, too damaged to ever bring themselves to talk about it. A lot of theories were proposed: dark magic from captured unicorns, chemicals, and environmental hazards that no sane pony would tolerate, and even thoughts of unknown sister of Celestia, destined to create the spectra instead of raise a sun or moon. None of them could be farther from the truth. "Come on, Orion, we're going to be late for our final test," Scoodle called to a friend of hers. She was older now, in her last year of flight school. She, like all other Pegasuses in the school, were terribly nervous of the final test. Those that passed were granted freedom into the world, to find their cutie marks if they haven't yet, and become working ponies. A little known, or at least little thought about fact, was of what happened to the fillies that failed their test. While uncommon, one or two from every class generally didn't have it in them to perform the rigorous acts and maneuvers. Those that failed their tests were looked down upon in the worst of ways, shunned and hated. Cloudsdale had always bred a form of nationalism amongst its occupants. If you weren't the best, or didn't show the potential of being the greatest, you weren't allowed to be part of the glorious collective. Scootaloo moved a little to the side as Orion, a tall yet fairly skinny pony, settled next to her. He fluffed his light brown feathers and gave a worried attempt at a smile as he stared around where he sat. They were sitting in the large open waiting room overlooking the Colosseum, with all other graduating Pegasi. Just visible in the distance was the factory. Orion glanced at it and gulped. "What's the matter, Orion? You afraid of getting a dead-end job on the snow line?" Orion chuckled a bit, then closed his eyes and sighed. "No, it's just, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. What if I fail? What if I don't fail, but just do bad enough to still be disliked by everyone? I don't know if I can take being deported. Where do we even go anyways?" Scootaloo gave Orion a friendly punch. "No one knows, you dolt. And we're not gonna fail. Everyone here is gonna be fine. At least I know I will pass. She laughed. Thanks to the tips from Rainbow Dash, I'm sure to be fine. Oh yeah, sure, that reassures me. That's actually just as, if not even more reassuring than the psychopathic hate every pony here seems to love to spread. Quit panicking, said Scaredy. No. Quit panicking, Scaredy Wings, Scootaloo replied. The only one here I think it might fail is that yellow pony with the dark green mane. She's the one who was out sick for that month, you know. Oh yeah, Orion remembered as he craned his head in the other pony's direction. The one who had that bad case of hoof and wing. She looks pretty confident, though. I suppose we'll see, Scootaloo trailed, turning to look at the factory herself. It gave her chills, not of fear, but of pride. I hope I get some active weather job. Can you imagine everyone in Ponyville or Philadelphia staring up at me going, there goes Scootaloo, such an amazing flyer. And from Cloudsdale, there can be no doubt. She smiled in excitement, forgetting her tension for the moment. That would be something, I'll admit. Mind you, just coming from Cloudsdale, who wouldn't be in awe? Exactly. Praise the flock. Praise the flock. Places, everyone. Places, every pony. A massive buff Pegasus walked towards the entrance to the Coliseum. We're going to do this by name. Your adjudicators are on the east side of the field. I repeat, do not fly to far west. If they lose sight of you for any reason, you will be failed immediately. Take deep breaths. Stretch your wings one last time. The test will consist of 3 sections. Weather clearing, agility, and finally, recovery. Clear the clouds, fly through the hoops, and then fly to the marked elevation. Close your wings for at least 3 seconds. Any less and you'll fail. But keep in mind there's no extra points for extra seconds. Finally, recover before you hit the cloud floor. Understood? Any questions? The instructor paused and carefully glanced at every single pony in the room. Everyone's eyes were completely focused on him, and none were creased with confusion. All right, Aurora Dawn, you're up first. Clear, fly, fall, complete. The yellow pony nodded and walked quickly up to the starting ramp with purpose. She stared at the watching judges, waited for a nod from all 3, then took off with a powerful force. The ramp bounced slightly from the force of the takeoff. Every pony watched as Aurora quickly reached the starting altitude, then began a direct and purposeful attack on the positioned clouds. With expert timing and intelligent angles, the sky was soon empty of any moisture. Scootaloo and Orion watched with their mouths open as they watched the first testee pull fast and tight turns, expertly shooting the dead center through each and every hoop. Finally, Aurora pulled herself up to the proper altitude, hovered, and closed her wings. The group of students gasped as she started plummeting down towards the clouds and counted breathlessly. 1, 2, 3. They sighed as they watched her wings open in the correct amount of time, collectively holding that relief. Suddenly, Aurora's wings whipped upwards, and the group of students flinched in horror as they heard a loud and hollow snap, only to suddenly be replaced by an unending, piercing scream. Many, like Orion, shielded their eyes with their wings, as others, like Scootaloo, could only watch, terrified, as the blur of yellow and green and red plummeted into a cloud with a dull thump. Wasting no time, the instructor walked forward again, as the 3 judges simply pointed down and started shuffling papers around. Speaking loudly as if nothing had happened, he called out again, "Daisy Field! Clear, fly, fall, complete." Scootaloo and Orion stared, slack-jawed, as another pony gulped, then walked forward onto the path.